Growing up in a small South Carolina town, I never imagined my life would take so many twists and turns. My childhood was typical, filled with neighborhood play and homework. Fascinated by airplanes, I joined the Marines right after high school. My time as an avionics technician at Marine Corps Air Station, White River in Virginia, was both challenging and rewarding, setting the stage for my future career. After my service, I moved to Richmond for college and pursued a degree in software engineering. There, I met Anna on a blind date. Her bright smile and caring nature captivated me. Anna, a nurse with a compassionate heart, and I quickly fell in love, married, and had 2 sons, Mason and Ethan. Today was the first day of our vacation in Virginia. We had just returned from Johnson's Family Park, a place I fondly remembered from my Marine days. The day was filled with laughter, and we chose to unwind by the pool. Life seemed perfect. Anna and I had fulfilling careers, a beautiful home, 2 cars, and our wonderful sons. Despite the ups and downs in our marriage, we always managed to navigate through our problems. I felt incredibly fortunate, not realizing this would be our last weekend together as a family. Let me introduce myself. I'm Jacob Fletcher, 39, a lead software developer at an aerospace firm specializing in avionics for military and commercial aircraft. After serving 4 years as an avionics technician, I joined the firm 13 years ago. I met Anna shortly after moving to Richmond. She's 3 years younger, a nurse at a large medical clinic. We fell in love, married, and bought a house on the outskirts of Richmond. We have 2 sons, Mason, 10, and Ethan, 8. Anna convinced me to have a vasectomy after Ethan was born, which I reluctantly agreed to. We had good jobs, a nice house, 2 cars, and an active life. Despite typical marital issues, we always worked things out. At that moment, I had no idea my world was about to collapse, marking our last weekend together as a family. Watching Anna put on her new bikini, I admired her youthful appearance. "Forget the pool," I teased. "Let's stay here and warm the bed." She laughed, playfully slapped my arm, and sent me to check on the boys. Our suite, more like a small apartment, had 2 bedrooms, each with its own bathroom and a kitchenette. The boys slept in one room, and Anna and I in the other. After ensuring the boys were ready, we headed to the pool. I noticed Anna engrossed in her phone. "Find anything?" I asked. She shook her head. "Just updating our relatives." Anna's family lived in Richmond, while mine were retired in South Carolina. After playing in the water with the boys, I got out and dried off. A tall, clean-shaven man around 30 approached us. He had short, dark hair and wore shorts and a t-shirt. He introduced himself as Eric and shook our hands. "Mind if I join you?" he asked, sitting next to Anna. There were plenty of free chairs, so I wondered why he chose ours. Before I sat down, he handed us a business card showing he was an account manager for Lyco Medical Supplies, based in Charleston, about 3 hours from us. "Isn't Lyco one of the companies your clinic uses?" I asked Anna, recalling their vehicles outside her clinic. She nodded. "Yes, it's one of several we use." Turning to Eric, she asked, "Have you ever been to Richmond?" He nodded. "Yes, about every 2 or 3 weeks. My territory covers Charleston to Richmond." "So, what brings you here?" I asked. "I'm here for a conference starting this weekend," he said. "I'll be here most of the week." We learned that Eric lived with his wife and 2 daughters in Claremont, a town along Interstate 95 between Charleston and Richmond. He described himself as a happily married man, joking about living in a house full of women. "That's funny," Anna said. "Jacob can only produce boys." Eric spent time with us, even playing water volleyball with me and the boys. He seemed nice, and nothing between him and Anna seemed concerning, but my radar was on high alert. Eventually, we decided it was time for dinner, and Eric said goodbye, hoping to see us again. We enjoyed our evening meal and headed to our room. "Can you believe it?" Anna said in the bedroom. Maybe Eric will get me the girl I've always wanted. What? I said. Don't even joke about that. Remember, it was your idea for me to get surgery after Ethan was born, and I won't tolerate any cheating. I was just kidding, she said. I wouldn't do that to you. I love you too much. I love you too, I replied. But there's nothing funny about what you're saying. Nothing more was said, but I thought I saw a flash of guilt on her face. Maybe I was reading too much into it. After spending time in the common area, we sent the boys to bed and headed to our room. When I was ready for bed, Anna said she couldn't sleep and asked if I minded her going for a late-night swim. I don't mind, I replied. Do you want me to join you? No, she said. Someone has to stay with the boys. I won't be long. Okay, I said, and she left. Our third-floor room overlooked the pool. I set up my camera on a tripod, loving to take candid shots of Anna. She entered the pool area, swam, then sat on a lounge chair. Soon, Eric arrived, still in shorts and a t-shirt, and they talked. She seemed to glance at our room, but I knew she couldn't see me in the dark. Then she leaned over and kissed him. I tried to zoom in, but they got up and left together, and I lost sight of them. Had she really cheated on me with someone we just met? Her phone was on the dresser, and I considered checking it, but decided against it, not wanting to invade her privacy. I waited, but Anna didn't return. 2 hours later, she came in, smelling different in a way I couldn't pinpoint. It's about time you came back, I said. I saw you leave the pool hours ago. Sorry, she replied. Eric came down, and we talked for a while. Then we went to a restaurant for drinks, and lost track of time. She lied, I thought. I know what alcohol smells like, and she didn't have any on her breath. Suddenly, I felt nauseous. I rushed to the bathroom, locked the door, and threw up. Anna knocked. Honey, are you okay? She asked. I'm nauseous, I said, washing my face and sitting down. Why is she doing this to us? I wondered if our whole marriage was a sham. Are the boys even mine? I sat there, overwhelmed with thoughts. Anna knocked again. Do you need a doctor? No, I'll be out soon, I replied. After cleaning up, I returned to the bedroom, avoiding her. We lay down, and for the first time, I didn't kiss her goodnight. I love you, she said quietly. I said nothing. Good night, she finally said, turning away. I thought I heard her sob, but I didn't care. The next morning, I got up, exhausted from a night of nightmares about Anna and Eric. I said nothing to Anna as I got ready. I had promised the kids a trip to Adventureland, and nothing would make me break that promise. How are you feeling? Anna asked as we dressed. I feel awful, I growled. Maybe you should stay here, she suggested. No, I said. I promised the boys Adventureland, and I'm not breaking my promise. She recoiled but stayed silent. We went downstairs for breakfast, saying little to each other. Eric joined us at our table, sitting between Anna and me. I thought I saw him smirk, and Anna smiled at him. So what's on your agenda? He asked. We're going to Adventureland, Anna said. Mind if I come along? What about your convention? I asked, trying to sound neutral. It's just boring seminars, he said. I've heard it all before. Well, Eric, I think Jacob wanted a family outing, Anna said, looking at me. That's right, I said. I promised my family a day at Adventureland. Family is the most important thing, he said. Too bad you didn't think of that last night, I thought. Have a good time, Eric said, standing up. As we left, I thought I saw him signal Anna. What's gotten into you? Anna asked on the bus to Adventureland. You were so cold to Eric. I could ask the same of you, dear wife, I said, emphasizing wife. Or I could ask who attacked you. Jacob, that's not nice, she said, pouting. Please, I said sarcastically. Let's just have a good day for the boys, okay? Okay, she said. I don't know what's gotten you so upset, but I'm sorry. Yeah, I replied neutrally. Normally, I would have hugged and kissed her, but not this time. After last night, I didn't want to touch her. She leaned back, frustrated. I hope you won't be upset for the rest of our vacation, she said. I looked at her, but didn't respond. We spent the day at Adventureland, ensuring the boys had a good time. I mostly ignored Anna, but tried to remain polite for the boys' sake. I often saw her texting. Was she texting Eric? Who knows, I thought. After lunch, the tired family got back on the bus. I looked at Anna. So did you have a good day? I asked. She nodded. Yeah, but it would have been better if you talked to me. Sorry, I said. I'm still not feeling well after last night. Maybe you should get a good night's sleep, she suggested. Yeah, maybe, I thought sarcastically, as if sleep will fix your cheating. We rode in silence and had lunch back at the hotel. In our room, I tried one last time with Anna. I hugged her. I'm sorry I've been so cranky, I said. Let's put the kids to bed and enjoy some private time. I'd love to, but I just got my period, she said. What? I thought. I knew her last period ended before we left Richmond. Well, I'm tired. I think I'll lie down. Go ahead, she said. I'm going to the pool. I watched her leave and set up my camera to catch them together. Sure enough, they met at the pool. I zoomed in and got clear photos and video of them. They left together, and I was sure they were heading to his room. I sat on the bed, wondering what to do. Then I saw her purse and phone on the dresser. I unlocked her phone using our son's birthday. I went through her messages and realized what was happening. She and Eric had been in a serious relationship for a year. He was the lico rep at her clinic and visited every other week. Recently, she decided he should get her pregnant with a girl. They planned this vacation so they could be together. Eric's wife knew about their affair. They planned for Eric to accidentally meet us at the pool and for Anna to spend every night with him. She even agreed to turn me down all week. In their messages, Eric asked, "What will you tell your husband?" "I'll say I'm getting my period," she replied. "He won't come near me then. He'll suspect something." Eric texted. "Not yet," she wrote. "He'll know when you get pregnant." "He thinks the boys are his too," she continued. "But they aren't. I took a DNA test. I'll email it to you." "Darn. Why stay with him?" he asked. "He's a good provider and great with the kids," she wrote. "I don't have to worry about getting pregnant by him after his vasectomy." "Do you know who the real fathers are?" Eric asked. "Yes," she replied. "An old boyfriend is Mason's father, and the doctor I used to work for is Ethan's." "You're something else," he said. "I hope he never finds out." "He won't," she assured him. "If he divorces me, I'll destroy him financially and keep him away from the boys." "You're cold," he said. "The coldest," she agreed. In the morning, she texted Eric. He hardly spoke to me. "Maybe he's figured it out," Eric said. "No, he thinks it's something he ate. Are we still on for tonight?" "Yes," he replied. "See you at the pool." "I'll be back around 8 in the morning," she said. "Then you have me all night." He wants to take us to the Redwood Crater. Boring. "Okay, see you tonight," he said. "See you later, lover," she replied. Good thing Anna wasn't around at that moment. People say the opposite of love is indifference, not hate. But for me, it was blind, seething hatred. She had lied to me all these years and robbed me of a real family. I needed to find out about the DNA test she mentioned, so I searched her email. Sure enough, there it was in a folder labeled stuff. The test, dated a year and a half ago, showed both boys had different fathers, and I wasn't one of them. Furious, I forwarded the document to my email and searched her other emails. There were explicit messages and photos from Eric and other men dating back 8 years. I forwarded those too. I rummaged through her purse and found birth control pills. Why would she need these if I had a vasectomy? I wondered. Her day planner had EK written on several days, likely when she saw Eric. It also had a note to stop BC and no Jade on the same day. She must have stopped birth control and cut me off to save herself for Eric. I photographed the planner and pills and put everything back. Then I had an idea. At work, we used an app to track all activity on an employee's phone suspected of passing trade secrets. I set up a similar account to monitor Anna's phone. Within minutes, I could access everything from my phone, tablet, or computer. I also installed an app to record her phone conversations and another to track her phone's location. I knew this wouldn't hold up in court, but I felt justified. I decided to get the boys and myself away from Anna. I called the airline and booked a flight to Richmond, leaving before midnight. I then called Anna's parents. Her mom, Carol, answered. "Hi, Mom," I said. "I need a big favor." "Sure, Jacob. Is everything okay?" "Not really. I'm bringing the kids home tonight. Can they stay with you for a week? I'll explain when I get there." "Of course. Is something wrong between you and Anna?" "I'll explain later. Please don't say anything to Anna." "I promise," she said. I packed my bags quickly, then woke the boys. "Get up, guys. We need to pack and leave now." They looked scared and tired. "What's going on?" asked Mason. "It's an emergency. We're going home. You'll stay with your grandparents for the week. Now move it." "Where's Mom?" asked Ethan. "Isn't she coming?" "No, she's with Eric," said Mason. I looked at him, surprised. "How do you know that?" I asked. "She's been texting him all day," he said. I remembered seeing her on the phone. "Yeah, come on, we're leaving in a few minutes." I helped them pack and wrote a note for Anna. "Anna, you weren't here when we got up, so I took the kids out for the day. I might be late. See you later, Jay." I wondered if Anna would notice I hadn't left any affectionate words, but I didn't care. She probably read the note and head straight back to Eric. We grabbed our luggage and checked out. I informed the night manager that my wife was still in the room, but didn't know how long she'd stay. "I hope you enjoyed your stay," the manager said. "Yes, thank you," I replied. Outside, we boarded an airport shuttle, and the driver loaded our luggage. At the airport, my new reservation was confirmed, and we went through security. On the plane to Richmond, the boys fell asleep quickly, but I stayed awake, researching Virginia divorce laws. It's a no-fault state, but infidelity can affect proceedings. I would likely pay child support, but the evidence of her infidelity might help. I knew I needed a good lawyer, so I planned to ask Patrick, my father-in-law, for a recommendation. Using an app, I monitored Anna's phone, which had archived all its contents. Exhausted, I decided not to review everything again, and instead searched for Eric's address and phone number, finding it in Claremont. Finally, I tried to get some sleep. I woke as the plane descended into Richmond. We disembarked, collected our bags, and headed to the car. I called Patrick and Carol to let them know we were on our way. They greeted us warmly and brought us inside. "What's going on, son?" Carol asked. "I thought everything was okay between you and Anna." "I thought so too," I said, "but I found out it was all a lie." "What do you mean?" asked Patrick. I showed them the DNA test from Anna's emails and her messages with Eric. "Oh my gosh," Carol said. "How could she be so foolish?" "I'm sorry, Jacob. I thought she outgrew that after marrying you." "What do you mean?" I asked. "Anna was wild in her younger years," Carol explained. "It started in high school and got worse in college. She was constantly dating different guys. She was even engaged once but broke it off." "She never told you about this?" "No," I replied. "Yeah, it was during college," Carol continued. "She was engaged to a guy named Dylan Cousins. They went to high school together." She pulled out a photo album. "Here it is," she said, showing me a prom picture of Anna and Dylan. I immediately noticed Dylan looked a lot like Mason. I showed the picture to Carol. "Is it just me, or does he look a lot like Mason?" I asked. Carol and Patrick examined the picture. "I think you're right," Carol said. They look very similar, don't they, Patrick? He nodded. Of course they look alike, Patrick said. Do you think he could be Mason's biological father? It looks like it to me, I said. But a DNA test would prove it. Is this guy still around? Yes, Carol said. His family owns a deli here. He makes the best pastrami. He probably still works there. She wrote down the name and location of the deli and handed it to me. I'll have to visit him, I thought. I turned to Patrick. Can you recommend a good divorce lawyer? Yes, he replied. Are you sure you want to pursue this? Absolutely, I said. Anna has lied to me for 13 years, and now she's cheating with some salesman in Virginia. I understand, he said. You've been good to her, and I consider you a son. But she's my daughter, and I still love her. Do what you need to do, but promise me one thing. What's that? I asked. Promise you won't physically hurt her, he said. I nodded. I promise, I said. Thank you, he said. Also, come over for dinner tonight with the kids. We need to talk in detail. I'll be here, I said. He handed me a business card. Brenda Green, it read, with an address and phone number. She's the best, Patrick said. Call her office early Monday. Thanks, I said. I'll see you tonight. Please don't let Anna know we're here. Mom's the word, Carol said. We said goodbye, and I hugged the boys, promising to come back tonight. I left and headed home. Without Anna and the boys, the house felt dark and empty. Everywhere I looked reminded me of happier times now tainted by her lies. I wiped away tears and vowed never to cry over Anna again. Looking in the bathroom mirror, I realized I hadn't slept properly in almost 2 days. Goodness, I said to myself, I look terrible. I brushed my teeth and crawled under the covers, falling asleep almost immediately. I walked into our hotel room at 8 a.m. on Sunday, hoping to see my husband and boys. After how Jacob treated me the day before, I was nervous. Thankfully, I had showered before leaving Eric's room to avoid Jacob smelling anything suspicious. I opened the door, expecting the usual morning noise from Jacob and our restless boys. But it was silent. Worried, I went to our bedroom and found a note on the dresser. Anna, you weren't here when we got up, so I took the kids out for the day. Might be late. See you later, Jay. Short and to the point, typical of Jacob. Notably, it lacked his usual affectionate words. He was probably still upset about Friday night. I decided not to call or text. It wouldn't help given his mood. Besides, I wasn't interested in seeing the redwood crater anyway. I saw my phone on the dresser, unlocked it, and noticed the Messenger app was open. That's odd, I thought. I usually close my apps. I dialed Eric's number. Love, I said when he answered. Jacob and the boys left early, and might be back late tonight. I'm free for the day and night if you want. Has he left already? Eric asked. Yes, I said. He got tired of waiting for me. His loss. I'll meet you downstairs for breakfast. Then we can hit the pool and have some fun later. Will do, lover, he said. I can't wait, I replied. I grabbed a few things from the dresser and left. The clock showed 1:30 p.m. when I woke up. I must have been more tired than I thought. I got up, wiped my eyes, and headed to the bathroom. Being Sunday, I couldn't do much with the lawyer, but I had one crucial task. I checked my phone and saw Anna hadn't texted or called. Figures, she likely spent the day with Eric. I went through her phone data on my tablet. She had called a number with a 740 area code, Eric's area, so I listened to the conversation. She planned to spend the day and night with him. Her tracker showed she was still at the hotel. I found the deli where Dylan Cousins worked and headed there. Inside, a man behind the counter wearing a name tag that said Dylan turned around. He put on weight since high school, but I recognized him. Are you Dylan Cousins? I asked. Depends on who you are, he said, smiling. If you're a bill collector. No, I laughed. "I'm Jacob Fletcher. Nice to meet you." "Nice to meet you," he said. "What can I do for you?" "Do you know Anna Williams?" I asked. "Yeah, I did," he said. "Back in high school and college. I heard she got married." "Yes, to me 13 years ago," I said. The smile vanished from his face. "Weren't you engaged to her once?" I asked. "Yes," he said. "But I caught her with another man, so I broke it off." "You took her to prom, right?" I asked. "Yes," he replied. "She was pretty wild back then. I hoped she'd settle down, but I guess not." "Did you see her about 11 years ago?" I asked. His face reddened. "Yes," he said quietly. "She wanted to talk, said she wanted to make amends. She asked me to get her pregnant, claiming her husband liked it." "Not exactly," I said. He looked at his wedding band. "I wasn't married yet then," he said. "I met my wife 6 months later." "Did you hear from Anna after that?" I asked. "Yes, she said she had a baby boy named Mason," he replied. I showed him a picture of Mason. "Striking resemblance, don't you think?" "Yeah," he said. "What do you want from me?" "Would you testify in court?" I asked. "Tell the judge what you just told me." "Sure," he said. "She played both of us. Would you undergo a DNA test to confirm you're Mason's father? Are you worried I'm coming for support?" He asked nervously. "Are you?" "No," I said. "I don't know what the court will decide. I've been raising Mason for 10 years. He thought for a moment. "Okay," he said. "What do I need to do?" I pulled out a cotton swab. "Just let me take some saliva from your cheek," I said. He opened his mouth, and I swabbed his cheek, then put the swab in a marked bag and pocketed it. "There's something else," I said. "What?" he asked. "I'll have a pound of your pastrami, please. I'll pay for it." He grinned widely. "You have good taste. We make the best pastrami in the state." "So I've heard," I said. He handed me a sample, which was the best pastrami I'd ever tasted. "Very tasty," I said. "I'll add a sandwich for you at no extra charge," he said. "Sounds good, Dylan," I said. I hadn't had lunch yet. He weighed a pound of meat, bagged it, and made a sandwich, wrapping it in paper. I thanked him and paid for the pastrami. "Jacob, you seem professional," he said. "I'm sorry about everything, and I hope it works out for you." "Thanks, Dylan," I said. "And thanks for your honesty. I'll see you around." "See ya," he said as I left. I drove home, eating the sandwich. I had another important task. On my tablet, I checked Anna's phone activity. No new messages. She didn't even care where we were. I went through her emails again and found exchanges with Dr. Coleman, who performed my vasectomy. He asked if she had talked to me about it. "Yes, I have," she answered. I told him I was having a hard time with Ethan, and he agreed. "Good," he replied. "I'll take care of it myself. He won't be able to have kids when I'm done." "Why don't you want kids with him?" "You looked at him." "No way," she responded. I couldn't believe what I was reading. She and the doctor conspired to make me infertile while making me believe I was doing it for her. I copied incriminating emails, photos, and videos onto a flash drive for the divorce. I discovered she had affairs with at least 5 other men after Dr. Coleman left the clinic. These happened while I was away for work 3 or 4 times a year. Then she met Eric and things changed dramatically. Eric and his wife were in a club and wanted Anna and me involved. They declined on my behalf, and they kept the affair going. I wondered how I hadn't noticed. How long would this have continued if I hadn't found out? How would I explain this to the boys? I had always told them honesty was best, even if it hurt. One day, I'd have to tell them. Curse her, I thought. Realizing I had to leave soon for dinner with the boys and my in-laws, I showered again, feeling dirty after reading Anna's emails. Home, I rang the doorbell, and Patrick let me in. The boys bustled around me. I love those boys so much and wish I was their biological father. We had dinner and then moved to the family room. "Dad," Mason said, Are you and Mom getting a divorce? I nodded. I'm afraid so, son. Did I do something? He asked, tears in his eyes. I pulled him close. No, son, you haven't done anything. You're both the best sons anyone could wish for. Then why? Don't you love Mom anymore? It's hard to explain, I said. Sometimes moms and dads go through things that can't be fixed. But I love you and will always be there for you, okay? I hugged both boys, comforting them, but they knew things would never be the same. Listen, I said, go upstairs and get ready for bed. I need to talk to Grandma and Grandpa. Okay, they said, leaving the room. I spent the next hour telling Patrick and Carol what I knew. I showed them the messages, emails, photos, and videos. They were outraged at their daughter's behavior, but watched the videos anyway. It looks like she's been doing this our entire marriage, I told them. That explains what happened last summer, Carol said. What do you mean? I asked. Last summer, when you were at Orion for a week, Anna brought the boys over saying she had a friend's birthday party at her office and might stay late. We didn't see her until Sunday afternoon. I remembered that trip. I had to oversee software testing and was gone for a week. I found emails from that time between Anna, Eric, and Alicia, revealing she spent the weekend with them. I showed the emails to Patrick and Carol. I'm so sorry, son, Patrick said. You deserve better. You've been a wonderful husband and father. Thanks, Dad, I said. I'm sorry to drag you into this, but I can't stay with Anna. I called Brenda, he said. She can see you at 7:30 tomorrow morning. Thanks, I said. I'll be there. I'll bring everything, including financial documents. Good. Brenda is the best. Just don't do anything foolish. I won't, I promise, I said. What about the biological fathers? He asked. I met Dylan today. He's a nice guy, and was honest. But I don't know about Dr. Coleman. Yes, he's a cocky guy. I'd like to see you rein him in. I laughed. I'd like that too. Realizing I had a lot to do, I told them. I'd better get going. I'd like to say goodnight to the boys. Good idea, Carol said. I went upstairs, hugged the boys, told them I loved them, and promised to see them soon. I said goodnight to Patrick and Carol and headed home. I gathered all our financial information, printed it out, and put it in a folder along with incriminating emails. I copied pictures and videos onto a flash drive. I checked Anna's phone one last time, saw no activity, and called it a day. I couldn't believe she hadn't texted to check on the boys. The next day, I got up early, saw that Anna still hadn't texted or called, showered, shaved, dressed, and headed to Brenda's office. I met her at 7:30. Mr. Fletcher, I presume, she said. Please call me Jacob, I said. You must be Ms. Green. It's Mrs. Green, but you can call me Brenda, she said. I see you got your father-in-law's message. I did, I said. He said you were the best. I am, she said. My secretary won't be here for another half hour. Let me get us coffee, and we'll start. Sounds good, I said. She made us coffee and escorted me to her office. Your father-in-law tells me you want a divorce. Is that true? She asked. Yes, it is, I replied. Good. Tell me what's going on. I told her everything, showed her the emails, texts, DNA form, and handed her the thumb drive with photos and videos. And you haven't heard from her since you left Virginia? Nothing, I said. That won't look good in court. You've identified the biological fathers. Yes, I said, mentioning my meeting with Dylan. I see, she said. Divorce isn't about justice. It's usually about money. Mothers almost always get custody. Fathers pay child and spousal support. Assets are split in half, and the custodian usually gets the house. Virginia is a no-fault state, but infidelity can be grounds for divorce. Is that what you want? Yes, I said. We'll need to prove it to a judge, but you have a strong case. We can ask that spousal support not be awarded, But you might still pay alimony depending on many factors. Even if I'm not the biological father, I asked. You raised the children for 10 years, she said. But we still have options. She asked more questions, and we discussed details. She gave me a list of steps to protect myself financially. Then she asked, when do you want the papers served? As soon as possible, I said. You said the hotel room in Virginia is booked through Friday. Yes, but she can return any time. She probably doesn't know I've left. Good, we'll serve her at the airport. If she comes back early, call me. If I don't answer, leave a message. Meanwhile, don't do anything rash. Stay strong for your boys. Thank you, I said. Is there anything else? Not now, but contact me if you hear from her. I will, I said. How much do I owe you? I blushed at the amount but knew it was necessary. I wrote a check, handed it to her, and left feeling a bit better. I still hated Anna, but at least I was taking action. On the way home, I went to the bank and followed Brenda's advice. I withdrew half the money and opened a new account in my name, then paid off and closed the joint credit cards and ordered one for myself. Anna had her own card, which I also paid from our joint account. By the time I got home, it was almost 11 a.m., 8 o'clock Virginia time, and I figured if Anna was going to call, it would be soon. At 8 a.m. Monday, I entered our hotel room unsure of what I'd find. I hadn't heard from Jacob yesterday, and I was worried about the boys. I knew they were safe with him, but it would have been nice to hear something. I unlocked the door, but the room was eerily quiet. Where were they? I called out, but no one answered. The boys' beds were made, and their clothes and toys were gone. I ran to our room and saw that Jacob's stuff was gone too. The note he left Saturday was still on the dresser, untouched. I realized he knew everything. I called him. Hi, Jacob said. Honey, it's me. I said, my voice shaking. Where are you? Are the boys okay? What's going on? Like you care, he said angrily. Of course I care. I love you and miss you. Ha! Is that why you waited 36 hours to contact me? Too busy with Eric to notice we weren't there. What are you talking about? I knew the boys were safe with you, and you hate using your phone. Nonsense. You knew I'd be gone, so you spent the day and night with your buddy. Don't lie to me. I know everything. What do you mean, everything? I asked, nervous. I found the DNA test. The boys aren't mine. I know who their fathers are. And I know you schemed to keep me from having children. You lie our entire marriage. Even this vacation was an excuse to be with Eric. Jacob, it's not what you think, I said, trying to deflect. You don't have to tell me that. You schemed to deprive me of my family. It's over, we're done. I've already seen a lawyer about a divorce. No, please, Jacob, I don't want a divorce. I don't care what you want anymore. Jacob, please let me come home so we can talk this out. There's nothing to settle. The room is paid for through Friday, so stay there. You'll get the papers when you return. I canceled your joint credit and debit cards, but you still have your personal card. Jacob, please. I started, but he hung up. I stared at the phone, contemplating whether to call back, but decided against it. The more I thought about what he said, the angrier I got. Yes, I had cheated many times. I was wild and thought marriage would change that. I stayed faithful for the first 2 years. But then I let my ex-fiancé Dylan get me pregnant. I never really wanted kids with Jacob. He wasn't ugly, but he wasn't Brad Pitt either. I kept my affairs secret, waiting until Jacob was away on business trips. After Mason was born, I had more lovers, and I made sure Jacob didn't find out. I had an affair with Dr. Coleman, who got me pregnant with Ethan. I named Ethan after his real father, who wanted nothing to do with him. Dr. Coleman suggested Jacob get a vasectomy, and I convinced Jacob to do it. He believed my lie and agreed. After Ethan was born, I continued dating other men discreetly. As long as Jacob remained in the dark, I thought everything would be okay. Far along the way, I met Luke. It's not his real name, but everyone calls him that. We spent time together a few times, and then he made me a very lucrative offer. Everything we did was for cash, and I managed to save a good amount. I decided to keep it as a backup in case Jacob ever left me. Some of what I did for Luke was illegal, but he assured me everything would be fine if I stayed calm. Around that time, I verified through a DNA test that neither of the boys were Jacob's. I was pleased with the results and kept the document for future use. I knew I'd eventually have to tell Jacob the truth, and I didn't care about his reaction. What could he do? I felt it was my right to choose the father of my children. Jacob's reaction to finding out was extreme. We'd been through a lot over the years, and I didn't think this should be any different. I never thought he'd go through with the divorce. He always deferred to me until Friday night. He called me promiscuous, which made me furious. Yes, I'm promiscuous, but how dare he say it like that? I'll show him what a real troublemaker can do. I started forming a plan, but then I worried. If Jacob really knew everything, I could end up in jail. I made a call from my contact list. McGregor. A male voice answered. Luke, it's Anna. Hey Anna, how's Virginia? Getting a good tan? Yeah, fun, I said. We've got a problem. Jacob knows. He said he knows everything. Yes, I said. And it has to be done Thursday night. I had just finished talking to Anna, deciding I couldn't take any more of her scams. I checked that the app I installed on her phone had downloaded the audio file and transcript of the conversation. She was talking to a number in Richmond, registered to someone named Luke. After the conversation ended, I waited for the app to copy the files to the cloud. Once available, I printed the transcript and played the audio. McGregor, said a male voice. Luke, Anna here. Hey Anna, how's Virginia? Getting a good tan? Yeah, fun. We've got a problem. Jacob knows. He knows everything. Yes, she said. And it has to be done Thursday night. Why Thursday? I'm sending him something tonight. He'll be upset and probably won't defend himself. Also, I'll be here until Friday, and he'll likely serve me divorce papers when I return. Divorce? Yes, he found out about me and is preparing divorce papers. What are you going to do to upset him? He thinks I'm a troublemaker. I'm going to show him just how far I can go. Luke laughed. You sure can be trouble, right? She giggled. Yeah, but he doesn't know how much. It has to look like a home invasion. Does he have a weapon in the house? No, he wanted one. But I never allowed it. What about the boys? I don't want them hurt. But there can't be witnesses. Understood. Yes. What's in it for me? Jacob has $1 million life insurance policy, and his employer has a $500,000 policy. I'll give you $100,000. You're asking a lot. Make it $250,000. Okay, so you want me to eliminate your husband, and possibly your boys for $250,000. You want it done Thursday night, looking like a home invasion. Exactly. And I want you to handle it yourself. I know you've done it before. I understand. You realize this is risky. We both do. Good. But I want to celebrate when you get back. She giggled. Sure, we can celebrate D-Day together. D-Day? Yes, the day Jacob dies. They laughed. I got to go. I won't call until I get back. Don't worry, I'll act like a distraught widow. Okay, I'll text you when it's ready. I can't wait. Talk later, she said, ending the call. I sat there, stunned. Anna had promised $250,000 to have me and possibly the boys eliminated on Thursday. Why? And who was this McGregor guy? Is he a cop? What are they hiding? I sent the audio file and transcript to Brenda's email and called her. She answered on the second ring. Brenda Green, she said. Brenda, this is Jacob Fletcher. I sent you some files. Anna and a guy named McGregor plotted to eliminate me and the boys this Thursday." "What?" she asked, shocked. "Are you sure?" "Yes, I sent the audio and transcript." "How did you get them?" "Never mind, I'll explain later. I'm heading to the office." "I'll clear my calendar, call the DA, and my private investigator," she said. "On my way," I said, grabbing my tablet, laptop, and the transcript printout. I headed to Brenda's office. 2 men were reviewing the transcript with her. Brenda introduced them as Mark Phillips, her private investigator, and Owen Carter, an assistant DA. "How did you get this?" Owen asked. I explained about the apps I installed on Anna's phone to archive her data, including emails, texts, videos, photos, and calls. "I'm not sure we can use this as evidence in court, given how you obtained it," he told me. "Look, Mr. Carter," I said, "the phones and services are in my name, and I pay the bills. That's why I only use my phone for calls." "Are you willing to testify under oath?" he asked. "Absolutely," I said. "I'll give you access to everything I have so you can review it." "I need to talk to my boss about it first," he said. "Do you know who this McGregor guy is?" I shook my head. "Not directly. Anna had an affair with him a couple of years ago, judging by her emails. He even sent her pictures and videos." "Show me," he said. I logged into the cloud account where Anna's phone data was archived. In the Stuff folder, I found emails with a video showing Anna with McGregor. We watched until a clear shot of his face appeared. "Drat," Mark said. "I know that guy." "Who is he?" I asked. "That's Alfred McGregor," he said. "He's a police captain in Richmond." "Are you sure?" Owen asked. "Absolutely," Mark said. Owen stared at the frame. "I think you're right," he said. "Can you print this out?" he asked Brenda. She plugged the laptop into her printer and soon had a color picture of McGregor with Anna. Owen looked at me. "Can you give me access to all this information?" he asked. "I can," I replied. "Do you have a laptop?" He nodded, opened his bag, and connected to Brenda's Wi-Fi. I set it up to monitor everything. "I think we should put Mr. Fletcher in protective custody until this is sorted out," Owen said to Brenda. "No way," she said. "He has 2 boys to take care of, and putting him in custody could be a death sentence." "I won't let McGregor get to him," Mark said. "I have a couple of guys who can guard him." "Do it," Brenda said. Owen looked at me. "Do you know why they want to eliminate you?" I showed them emails between Anna and Alfred. "I found this in her emails," I said. Owen's eyes widened as he read. "Holy cow," he said. "What?" Brenda asked. "Our office is working with the Pill and Booze Administration on prescription pills on the black market. We haven't found the source yet," he said. "Where does your wife work?" I told him about her clinic. "You think my wife is involved?" I asked. "That's what these emails suggest. McGregor might be involved too. If your wife thinks you know, she'll want you out of the way." He turned to Brenda. "Are you sure you don't want your client in protective custody? To make it easier for McGregor to get him?" she asked. "No, I want McGregor behind bars immediately." "It's not that easy," Owen admitted. "We need internal affairs and an investigation. He's a police captain, not a rookie. It'll take time." "We don't have time for political nonsense," Brenda said. "By the time you go through channels, my client could be gone. We know McGregor plans to act on Thursday. That's less than 3 days away." "What do you want me to do?" Owen asked. "Call your boss now," she said. "He's probably at lunch," Owen said. "He's probably heading back to his car." "Call him and put him on speakerphone," Brenda insisted. Owen nodded, dialed his boss, and put the phone on speaker. "Giles," the man answered. "Boss, this is Owen Carter. I'm with Brenda Green and her client. We have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "Can't it wait until I get back?" "No, it can't," Brenda said. "We have evidence a police captain is involved in a liquidation for hire and pill distribution scheme." "Who is this captain?" Giles asked. "McGregor," Owen said. Al McGregor. No way. He's a top officer. I can't believe it. We have compelling evidence, Owen said. What kind? A recorded phone conversation and incriminating emails, Owen said. Drat, Giles said. We don't have time for politics, Brenda. The plan is set for Thursday night, and it involves children. Drat, Giles repeated. You already said that, Brenda said. What are you going to do? Fine. Owen, let Jenkins cover your work for a few days. Focus on this and bring me a solid case in 48 hours. Can you do that? I can do it, Owen said. Keep this to yourself, Giles said. I'll inform the chief and alert Aya. If there's substance to this, we'll act quickly. Does that satisfy you, counselor? For now, Brenda said. But if anything happens to my client or his kids, I'll make sure you regret it, and your re-election will be in jeopardy. Don't worry, Brenda, Giles said. I'll do my job. I hope so, she said. I really hope so. Owen gathered his gear. I'd better get started. We need a warrant for your wife's arrest. She's due back Friday. I nodded. Good. I'll arrange for the locals to pick her up. Can I have your number for more information? I wrote down my number and address and handed it to him. He thanked me and pocketed the paper. We'll also need to search your house. I'll get a warrant and call you when we're ready. Understood, I said. He nodded, shook my hand, and left. Brenda spoke after Owen left. This changes your divorce case. Obviously, I said, then apologized for my tone. I'm just really angry. It's okay, Jacob. I'd be upset too. Do you want custody and the house? Yes, I said. She won't be able to pay child support in jail. Agreed. We'll figure it out. Go take care of your kids. I will, I said. Mark returned and said, my guy saw McGregor at a mail store. He pulled out a bag and put what looked like a paper lunch bag in a mailbox. 10 minutes later, someone else picked up the bag. We have pictures. The box is registered to McGregor. Did you tell Owen? I asked. Yes, just before he left. Why would a respected police officer do that? I asked. I had a hunch, but I need to investigate further, he said, then introduced the other man. Jacob, this is Marcus Reyes. He'll stay with you tonight and accompany you everywhere. Another man will keep an eye on things outside. I shook Marcus's hand. Marcus is a former Navy SEAL. If anything happens, follow his lead. Got it. Got it, I said. Good, Mark said. Have a good evening and call me if anything happens. We said goodbye, and I invited Marcus to sit. I made coffee and ordered pizza. We spent the evening eating, watching TV, and swapping stories. Marcus turned out to be a nice guy. Around 9 p.m., I checked Anna's phone activity and found none. I grabbed my loaded rifle and went to bed, making sure Marcus was set for the night. I woke up at 4:15 a.m. Tuesday to an email alert. It was from Eric's address, with a video attachment. I watched the video, showing Anna with multiple men. In the video, she looked into the camera and said, "What do you think of your troublemaking wife now, creep? My partner Luke will eliminate you by Friday. Enjoy it while you can. I'll take your insurance money and live how I want. Forget you and your silly family vacation." She laughed and raised both middle fingers. Shocked, I sent the video to Brenda and called her. She answered on the first ring. "Good morning, Jacob," she said, sounding sleepy. "Is everything okay?" "No," I said. "I just got a video from Anna admitting to conspiring to eliminate me." "What?" Brenda asked, shocked. "Yeah, it's unbelievable," I confirmed. "Come to my office at 7:30, she said. "I'll be there," I replied. I couldn't go back to sleep, so I showered, shaved, and got dressed. I made coffee and offered a cup to Marcus, who was already awake. I made breakfast, and we watched the news while we ate. "I have a meeting with my lawyer early this morning," I said. "You have to accompany me everywhere, right?" That's what I was told, Marcus replied. Good, I said. Do you need to freshen up? Already did, he said. I grabbed paper coffee cups and poured us each a cup. We left and headed to Brenda's office. She, Owen, and Mark were there. Brenda waved us in. Good morning, Jacob, she greeted me. Owen nodded curtly. Morning. Good morning, I said. Owen looked exhausted. We reviewed the video you got this morning, Brenda said. It looks like a confession to me. It does to me too, Owen added. There's also a threat of child endangerment. I informed my boss. What did he say? I asked. He agrees with my assessment, Owen said. The Lehigh County Sheriff's Department got the arrest warrant last night, and the feds have a warrant for Eric's arrest. Anna and her lover will be picked up this morning. My office is expediting the extradition papers now. That was fast, I remarked. When there's a clear threat to kids, we act quickly, he said. Thanks to Mark's investigators and the DEA, we have enough evidence to arrest McGregor. They're taking him from his apartment now. Made some progress then? I asked. Yes, Owen confirmed. McGregor had a criminal enterprise, which could mean a life sentence. Why? I asked. He's a police captain. He's deep in debt, Mark said. His wife divorced him and took everything. He's barely making ends meet, paying alimony. Owen checked his watch. I need to go. I haven't slept in 2 days. The feds are checking out clinics and are interested in your wife's lover. Call me if you hear anything. I nodded and shook his hand, thanking him. This changes your divorce, Brenda said. The court won't let her take the kids, especially if she's in jail. Let's wait and see what the court does before suing her. As for the biological fathers, I've researched both. Dylan Cousins has no real assets, but Dr. Coleman is different. I can start paperwork and maybe negotiate with him. Would you like that? Absolutely, I said. Good, she said. Go home and rest. I'll get back to you. I thanked her and left, with Marcus following me. Early in the morning, I was awakened by loud banging. At first, I thought it was in my head, but I soon realized it was the door. I looked at the clock. 5:30 a.m. Who would be banging on the door so early? I woke Eric, who threw on her robe and staggered to the door. Police. Open up, I heard. That answered my question. But why were they here so early? As soon as Eric opened the door, several large officers entered, 2 of whom threw Eric against the wall and handcuffed him. 2 officers approached me in bed. One looked down at me. Are you Anna Fletcher? One asked. Yes, I replied, still groggy. Get up, you're under arrest, he said. Arrested? For what? For conspiracy to commit liquidation and violating federal laws regarding the illegal sale of controlled substances. Now, get up. I'm not dressed. Can I at least get dressed? The officer pointed to 2 female officers who pulled something decent from the closet. The male officers turned away as the women handed me jeans, socks, underwear, and a t-shirt. I dressed quickly, and they handcuffed me after reading my Miranda rights. Eric was already gone. What about my phone? I asked. One female officer took it from the dresser and put it in her pocket. They led me out and put me in the back seat of a police car. The officer with my phone sat beside me, and another sat in the front. We went to the station, where I was processed and photographed. Can I make a phone call? I asked. The officer pointed to the desk phone. Can I use my phone? I asked again. Sorry, it's evidence, she said. Use this one. It took me a moment to remember Jacob's number. He answered after the second ring, clearly angry. What? He snapped. Jacob, it's me, I said, my voice trembling. I got arrested. Are the boys okay? What's going on? Yeah, that's what happens when you plot to get rid of your husband and kids, he said. By the way, they're arresting your partner this morning. Oh no, I thought. Luke had said we wouldn't get caught. Please, Jacob, I need help. Yes, you do, he replied. Maybe you'll get it in jail. Until then, forget you, troublemaker." He hung up, leaving me staring at the phone. I handed it back to the officer. "How long am I going to be here?" "Can I post bail?" I asked. "No bail has been set," the officer said. "You are in custody pending extradition to Richmond." Oh my gosh, I thought. What about Eric King? The officer checked her computer. "Mr. King is being extradited for federal charges in Charleston." This is it, I thought. I'm sunk. The officer took me to my cell, where I sat on a cold, hard concrete seat, staring at the walls, shocked at how far and fast I had fallen. I finished talking to Anna and laughed. I couldn't believe her audacity, expecting my help after plotting to eliminate me and the boys. She could rot in jail. I hated her more than anyone or anything in my life. "Talk about nerve," I said. Marcus nodded. "Yeah." We pulled up to my house and went inside. I checked Anna's phone for any new activity. Nothing. I called the hotel, explained the situation, and arranged to have her things packed and sent home. Then we sat in the living room, and I turned on the TV. Marcus's phone rang, and he left the room for a few minutes. "Turn on the news," he said when he returned. I switched to the local news channel. A reporter stood outside an apartment building. Captain Alfred McGregor, a highly decorated police officer, was shot and eliminated early this morning during an arrest related to a conspiracy to sell stolen prescription pills, the reporter said. Details are limited, but the police chief will hold a press conference later today. My phone rang. It was Mark. "Did you see the news?" he asked. "Saw it." "What happened?" McGregor opened the door and started shooting. The officers returned fire and took him down. "So I'm safe now." "Let's be cautious. I'd like Marcus to stay with you for the week. I don't think McGregor had anyone else after you, but better safe than sorry." "Sounds good to me. Have a good day." "Talk to you later," he said, ending the call. I looked at Marcus. "Looks like you're staying here for the week. Need anything?" "No, I'm good," he said. I sighed in relief. Later that day, Marcus and I went to see the boys. After dinner, I told them about the day's events. "So is Mom going to jail?" Mason asked. "Looks like it, son. Probably for a long time." He got quiet. I knew being the single parent with their mother in prison would be tough, but I was grateful for supportive relatives. The rest of the week passed quickly. On Wednesday, Brenda informed me that Anna had been returned to Richmond and her court hearing was set for Thursday. I made sure to be at the courthouse. I watched as Anna, in an orange jumpsuit and shackles, was led in. The judge ordered her detention without bail. She sobbed as she was led out. Her attorney asked if I could bring the boys to visit her. I told them they didn't want to see her. Brenda said the divorce papers were ready and asked if I wanted to be present when they were served. I agreed and met the bailiff at the jail. Anna was brought to the visiting area, still shackled. She looked up at me and smiled weakly. I just stared at her. The bailiff approached and asked if she was Anna Fletcher. "I am," she replied. He handed her the papers and stepped back. She began sobbing as she read them. Normally, I would have comforted her, but not now. I stepped forward and held out a pen. "Sign the papers, troublemaker," I said. "Don't I get anything?" she asked, tears in her eyes. "Not a chance. You won't need anything where you're going." "Can I at least see the boys?" "They don't want to see you. To us, you're gone. And speaking of gone, your partner was eliminated during the arrest." I heard. "Please, Jacob, forgive me." "No. I love you for over 13 years, and you repaid me with lies, cheating, and denying me children of my own. I will never forgive you. Now sign the divorce papers." Sobbing, she picked up the pen and signed. When she finished, I handed them to the bailiff. "Thank you," he said. "I'll return these to Mrs. Green, and she'll file them with the court." I watched him leave, then turned back to Anna. "I just want to know one thing, Anna." "What?" she asked. "Why? Why did you do it?" She shrugged. I don't know. Because I wanted to. And I could, I guess. And look where that got you. You're in serious trouble, but it's not my problem anymore. I glanced around the gloomy room. You know, I have a feeling you're going to die behind walls like these. And you know what? No, Jacob, she said, tears welling up. I can't wait to spit on your grave when you do. She started sobbing, but I didn't care. One last thing from me and the boys, I added. What? She asked, looking more wistful than ever. I raised both middle fingers. Forget you, troublemaker, I said, turning away. I heard her sobbing uncontrollably as I walked out. Too bad, I thought. Anna's liquidation for hire trial went quickly, given the boys were also targets. She was sentenced to 25 years to life. The federal pill investigation dragged on for months, resulting in an additional life sentence. Eric was also sentenced to life. My boys and I moved on. They never wanted to visit their mother, so I respected their wishes. Patrick and Carol visited their daughter monthly. It took time to adjust to being a single parent, but Patrick and Carol helped a lot. Carol urged me to find a nice girl, but I wasn't ready. After what Anna had done, I wasn't sure I could trust or love again. However, a couple of weeks after Anna signed the divorce papers, I had a vasectomy reversal, even though the doctor said it might take a while before I could father children. A few weeks later, Brenda contacted me with something important. What? I asked. Come by my office, she said. When I arrived, she pulled out a bottle of champagne and poured 2 glasses. She handed me one along with an envelope. Open it, she said. I opened the envelope and found a check for $5 million, signed by Dr. Coleman. Shocked, I asked, how did you manage that? I convinced Dr. Coleman it was in his best interest to settle. After pointing out the potentially devastating and embarrassing divorce his wife would likely want, and the damage to his reputation, he decided to settle rather than explain why he forced you to undergo an unnecessary procedure. Wow, I said. Remind me never to get on your bad side. She laughed. It's your after-tax profit. He also paid all your fees and expenses. He must be very rich, I said. He is, she said. Last year, he gave more to charity than this settlement. She raised her glass, and I joined her. My self-imposed exile from women lasted 5 years. Then I met Kendra Rivers, one of Mason's teachers. Like me, she was a single parent, also divorced and wary of relationships. We dated for a year before I proposed. She said yes, and a few months later we married. About a year after that, she gave birth to our daughter, Olivia Grace, named after our mothers. Tears filled my eyes as I held her for the first time. Kendra hugged me tightly, knowing Olivia was the first baby I had truly fathered. I called the boys and their grandparents into the room and introduced Olivia Grace. They immediately adored her. While Kendra, the kids, and I moved on, Anna's life deteriorated. A few months after her first conviction, she was diagnosed with HIV and separated from the other inmates. She died of AIDS about 13 years later, buried in Potter's Field with only a simple plaque. I wanted to fulfill my promise to spit on her grave, but Kendra convinced me otherwise. Come sit with me, she said on the back porch. She poured me a cup of chamomile tea. Jacob, I know how hard it was to get over what Anna did, but you have to let it go and move forward. It's hard, and it still hurts, I said. I know, she said. If I thought it would help, I'd go with you and spit on her grave. You know that, right? Yes, I said. But now she's gone, and she can never hurt you again, Kendra said. Anna suffered from AIDS almost as long as your marriage. She died alone, unloved, and forgotten. She paid the ultimate price. What more can you do? I had to admit she was right. Have you told the boys? She asked. They're in college now, I said. I told Mason and Ethan. At first, they thought I meant you, then realized it was about their mother. How did they take it? They didn't seem to care. What does that tell you? She asked. They've moved on with their lives. Exactly, she said. And so should you. You've been a great husband and father. You loved and raised Mason and Ethan, even after learning you weren't their biological father. You adopted Mark and raised him too. He's a good boy, I said. Thanks to you, she said. He sees you as his real father. We watched Olivia playing in the yard. Didn't Anna want that guy to give her a daughter? Kendra asked. Yeah, I replied. It felt like ages since that Friday night. Think about it. If she hadn't been so greedy, you could have had a daughter with her. And Olivia wouldn't exist. She was right. I kissed Kendra. Just then, Olivia ran to us with a white flower. Daddy, look what I have for you. Thank you, dear, I said. That woman said you really like them, Olivia said. Kendra and I looked around but saw no one. Which lady? Kendra asked. That one over there, Olivia said, pointing. We saw nothing. Goosebumps ran down my spine. What else did she say? Kendra asked. She said she's sorry for everything and wants you to forgive her, Olivia said, looking at me. I saw the vegetation swaying, as if touched by a light breeze. A sudden gust of cold air came and went. I looked at Kendra, tears in my eyes, and nodded. It's time, I said, knowing it was the hardest thing I'd ever do. Kendra smiled, and Olivia hugged me. I forgive you, Anna, I whispered, looking up. Olivia hugged me tighter and kissed my cheek. I love you, Daddy, she said. Thank you. She ran back into the yard. I looked at Kendra, wondering what had happened. She smiled and kissed me. At that moment, I felt happier and more content than I had in a long time, as if a huge weight had been lifted. Maybe, I thought, happiness is the best revenge.